Thank you for having us.
All right. Can you all hear me fine? Yes, awesome. Okay, so since it's 9 o'clock, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, so good morning, everyone. My name is Dia with the A to Job Foundation. Thank you all so much for joining us for the July meetup. This is 3 months in. We're excited to see some new faces. Do we have somebody who's attending for the first time? Can we have a wave of hands? Okay, well, welcome. And in the chat option, and if you know on the lower bar, there's an option where it says chat. If you want to drop in your name, who are you with, and let's see, maybe something fun you did for the weekend to just kind of do an icebreaker and get that chat started. So the Community Entrepreneurship Hour is a free monthly event, and this was actually inspired by a Kaufman Foundation program called 1 Million Cups. The goal of the event is to provide a platform for the entrepreneurship community to hear new ideas and support entrepreneurs by providing their feedback that will help further strengthen their businesses. And likewise, vice versa, this event also gives an opportunity for early stage entrepreneurs to practice and iterate their business pitches. So today we will be hearing from two awesome local entrepreneurs who will present for about 10 minutes each. And right after that, we'll jump into a Q&A for about 15 minutes. And we highly encourage you to ask questions and provide feedback at this time. Um, Depending on how many people are on the call, if there's a lot of questions coming in, try to put it in the chat and I can help moderate that. But if not, just shout it out and we'll get to you. Everybody is probably an expert Zoom right now, but just a few logistics. You want to stay muted when the presentations are on so we don't interrupt the presenters. And please use the chat feature to ask questions and engage in conversation. And before I forget, we have a new addition, and that is we are doing an Arbuckle coffee shop giveaway today. So how that's going to work is that you have to stick to the end of the call, and we will do a short quiz to ask you a pretty easy question about something that the presenters talked about, and whoever answers it the fastest on the chat will win the gift card. So yes, pay attention to the presentations. All right. And for our Facebook friends, please as well, put it in the comments if you have a question or feedback. But to get in for the giveaway, please join us via Zoom. All right. With that, I'm really excited to introduce our first speaker, Standokuhle Mahlatini, who goes by Star, is the founder and designer of Raresanity apparel company. Raresanity is an apparel company that inspires rare art and unexposed fashion. Raresanity products cut across color and creed, age and gender, while igniting hope for rare thinking artists to come out of their cocoons. Star graduated from East Central University with a degree in biology and also has a diploma in dental assisting from Pontotoc Technology Center. She is a self-taught artist who depicts her creativity on paper in the form of rare art forms. Star, thank you for joining us, and let me stop sharing my screen so we can start.
Hi, let me just share the screen. Good morning, everyone, and Dia, thank you for the introduction. I'm excited to present this. Um, Art has been recognized by artists around the world as a healing power, yet only recently has it emerged as an evidence-based therapeutic modality for depression. There are thousands of artists around us who are um, in a similar situation, talented and creative, but stuck um, in their careers due to lack of opportunities and self-esteem and mental health issues. Um, Raresanity is a fashion apparel company that seeks to expose rare art and help talented artists, especially those suffering from low self-esteem and depression, to come out of their cocoon. Um, Hello, my name is Standokuhle Mahlatini. I am the founder of Raresanity and also the designer. I was also one of the artists in this situation that I talked about earlier, and that experience inspired me to start Raresanity. Uh, Raresanity was founded in February 2020 and is currently an online store. We offer the latest fashion apparel such as hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops, fanny packs, and even phone covers. Our products are intentionally designed to um, incorporate unique art that has not been exposed to the um, fashion world. Additionally, what makes our business model unique is our mission to collaborate with other artists to uh, provide them a platform to showcase their talents. Our target customers are interested and invested in the world of art. This includes a large yet niche global target market, including artists and the Generation Z demographic. Raresanity seeks to eventually partner with huge manufacturing firms in clothing merchandise, because the market is lucrative so far, and even in the long term, because of growing popularity, Raresanity is currently in its startup stages, and we are seeking funding and expert team members to help grow our company. Um, but yeah, so about me. I'm a 21-year-old from Zimbabwe, Africa, and this is my family in this picture. My dad is not in this picture because he's back in Africa. And growing growing up, I was surrounded by autistic people. Excuse me. I was surrounded by autistic people, which are musicians, painters, fashion designers. At some point, my mom was a fashion designer and she would design wedding dresses and tie and dye clothing. This is one of the pieces that she designed, and that's me. Um, and also my brother is a painter, so like he's, as you can see in this picture. So I get to see his art every day, which really inspires me. My bad. Okay. So Raresanity was birthed in Asia in a classroom, to be very specific. I remember I was in this specific doing this specific subject that I wasn't really good at. So I'll find myself daydreaming in class, and I would think about a bunch of things like the good and the bad, and I would feel all types of emotions in one setting. So I found myself doodling in the notebook that would be in front of me. And when I got home, I would just like throw away those notebooks because I thought like it was all rubbish because they were full of doodles and stuff. Um, so there was this other time when my mom walked in my room and saw my notebook on the floor, and she was like, and well, of what she was saying, she saw gold and something that I saw as that I thought was rubbish. Um, and she was like, "Oh wow, I see this actually being on t-shirts and stuff, you know, like I see this going big." And yeah, that was actually how um that was the conception of Raresanity in a classroom. So, what is the problem Raresanity solving? It ignites a sense of purpose with rare and unfamiliar, non-cliche kind of art. We have many artists um, who are not recognized as such um, because they have a rare kind of creativity that is not kind of cliche or within what is normally perceived as popular art. Yet when given a chance on the market, it could prove innovative and otherwise popular. Raresanity aids or helps other individuals with rare kind of art to come out of their cocoon, whilst it adds to supply the demand of an already popular apparels. There's not much diversity in the fashion industry. So why is this problem a big deal? The problem is a big deal in that many potential artists with rare talent, which is normally perceived as not regular, are just sitting on their talents, which could otherwise be profitable in their lives, as well as contribute a rich variety of art in the communities. Um, who is that problem? Apparently, many individuals, besides the artists, have the problem of low self-esteem, if you like to call it. But probably it should suffice to say they think their contributions may not be worthwhile. Solution. My brand ignites hope in artists. It ignites hope for people in other industries too to come out of their cocoon. It inspires rare art and unexposed fashion. It's creating a manufacturing apparel that depicts the kind of art that I mentioned. And I also plan on collaborating with other artists to showcase their work and also putting their art as part of the merchandise. Okay, so this is my product. As you can see, my model is wearing a tank top with the unique art hoodies. And the t-shirts go for $21.99 and the tank tops go for $21.99 as well. The hoodies go for $38.99, and we also have tote bags. If you would like to see more of this art, you can go to um, on our Instagram page at Raresanity. We have a website on there. And yeah, this is another collaboration that we did with a company called Empocordo that is back in Africa. It did a nice African print for us. So yeah. Okay, so the pro business model. My projects get manufactured by a company called Teesprings. We send in the designs and they supply everything for us, though they get a small profit from what we earn. And Raresanity is tied to that company until we accumulate a capital to run our own online store that's not tied to anyone. We sell apparel directly to individuals online for now. Our link, our website is on our Instagram, like I said, and will be available on Amazon soon. Okay, so the team, since I'm still starting for my team, I am the designer and my family and friends are helping with the accounting and advertising and distribution. I'm slowly starting to look for people to work with us. The online sales enable us to reach any corner of the earth, and we are starting with the Ada market, Dallas, since I have family in there, and South Africa. We deal with the most credible logistics and career services. Our target demographics as people are people that are into art, no matter what ages they are. The Generation Z, like the newest generation, and people that are in the creative world. Okay, my market strategy. Instagram right now has our largest following base. We plan on collaborating with more artists, whether musicians or painters. As you can see, I collaborated with the local band, the Skyjuice band here. And we also have ties back home in Africa that would be able to advertise for us. And just connecting with influencers. Okay, the startup cost that I need to start my own website would be about 10,000, and which includes the LLC, filing fees, great camera, lenses for my studio, and photo editing computer, and maybe a backup drive. I want to at least get like 500 customers every month, starting with this fall 2020. And by the end of 2023, I want to open retail chain stores. So this is the end of my presentation, and these are my contact details. Any questions?
Good job, Star. Can we have a round of applause for Star, please? Thank you. Okay, so we are ready to jump into questions. Star, if you want to stop sharing your screen, we can have everyone
Okay.
back on camera. And please either post your question in the chat or just go ahead and shout it out.
Hi, Star. I think that was fantastic. I love it. I love your designing. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Artist. I mean, it's just so cool to me. So I love it. My question is, what built your business model as far as your projections for the 500 customers per month?
It's just an estimation, like, it's just an estimation of the sales that I would want for at least the end of this year.
Okay. Yeah. So is the estimations based on the money that you're needing, your startup costs, just to pay that back, or is it 500?
Yeah, it's based on the startup cost, the money that I need to pay back, and just to open my own website.
Perfect. Where'd you get the numbers for your web? Do you already have like your website in mind? Do you have a cost for the website? Or are you going to try to source that locally through yourself to save money, or?
I haven't done that yet, but I will. But yeah.
Well, my only tip there is websites. They can seem crazy expensive.
Yeah.
My husband jumped in, and his first round with his first initial business was he spent a whole lot of money on a website, and then a few months later he figured out he could do it himself, and that was money that he already put. So definitely
Okay.
know that you've got friends that can help you with that website, and save a good chunk of change there.
Thank you so much. That'll be great.
Yes, it's. I've been pretty impressed, with the biology and dental assisting degree. Jumped right into a business. So kudos to all the people who do that. So we have a few more questions coming in. One of them is, how do you include the designs from the artists? And for the future as well, how do you plan on collaborating with more artists as a business strategy?
Okay. I plan on putting their artwork on my t-shirts. That way that their art can be seen. And I'll also add maybe their websites and a link to their websites on there, as a link to their work as well.
Yeah, I think Chris mentioned that Design Crowd is a good tool for that. Okay, one more question we have is, what plans do you have to reach out to market at other colleges and universities? Also, how do you plan on adjusting with COVID that is highly impacting retail sales?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
Yes. Okay, I'll go one by one. First question is, how do you plan to attract like a market in the other colleges and universities?
Most probably social media. I feel that's really a powerful tool. So, posting on Instagram and marketing my stuff there and other platforms too.
And for your your marketing strategy and brand management, are you doing that yourself, or do you have help, or are you looking for help?
I'm looking for help because right now this company called Teesprings is doing everything for me, but I would like to be independent and help and have other people do it for me for my own company that is not tied to anyone.
Got it. And the second part of the question was, COVID has impacted retail sales so much. Online seems to be actually doing better and as a sustainable model. So do you have any plans of how, because you mentioned you want to have brick and mortar stores, so do you have any ideas of how you can balance that?
To be honest, I really thought about that, but yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, and just participants, if you guys have ideas of what you've seen, if you have some quick feedback, feel free to jump in, because it's more of an engaging conversation. Any more questions?
I would just say add in your Instagram tag to the slide where you have all of your products, because since we are on Facebook Live and things, that gives a lot of people the ability to know exactly where to go to your Instagram.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I have one more question is, what can this entrepreneurship community do to help you? What is it that we can do to help your business expand and grow?
Sorry, can you ask that question again?
Sorry, my bad. What is it you have an ask for this entrepreneurship community? What we can do to help you grow?
Just what the sells amongst every other thing, and just visit my store on, like I said, on Instagram, and yeah, just page sharing and liking. That'll be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that presentation and questions. We're going to jump into the second half of the agenda, and I am going to introduce Christopher McMahan with CropCut. So Chris is the founder and CEO of CropCut LLC. CropCut is a revolutionary way of cultivating hemp that helps everyday local landowners take part in the growing hemp industry without the need to without the need for operating capital or worrying about paying for their labor. Chris is also a student at East Central University pursuing a degree in entrepreneurship and is a recent winner in the small business division of I2E's Loves Entrepreneurs Cup. So congratulations and thank you for being with us, Chris. You can go ahead and share your screen.
Sure can. And thanks for having me. There's a lot of people in here that I know who have actually seen this presentation before, but there's a lot that haven't. So I'm actually going to start with a pitch. What if I told you that your next car could be made completely out of hemp, or that you could earn money off land that you aren't currently using? Hi, my name is Chris McMahan, and I'm the owner and creator of CropCut LLC, and I'm seeking a $1 million investment for 10% of my company. Founded earlier this year, CropCut LLC is a hemp cultivation company that helps local landowners take part in the growing hemp industry without the need for operating capital or worrying about paying for their labor. We target landowners with 10 or more acres of unused land, and our advantage is that we use small plots of land that commercial farming looks over either due to soil content or due to size, making that unwanted land profitable. CropCut customers will sign up through our online application process each year, and as we grow as a company, we have more landowners to our portfolio cultivating our own success along the way. We will begin production in 2020 with 150 acres of total production for a $4 million profit in year one. By year three, we will be at a minimum of 700 acres of total hemp production. CropCut LLC sets its buying contracts directly with its distributors and manufacturers before the seeds are even planted. Who wants to come with us and help it cultivate the future? So the opportunity that we have is to create a $40 million company over the next 3 years, alongside educating our local communities about sustainable agriculture and creating positive change within our communities. The 3 products that we'll be able to create are CBD, both for distillate and for grain, and then also fiber for steel, plastic, and biofuel production as well. The capital needs that we'll need to get started are $1 million, which I'm offering for 10% of the company. And the execution range that we'll have is in year one. We'll start with 150 acres of total production right here in Oklahoma, which we'll cover later. Year two will be 250 acres, and by year three, we'll make that 700 acres within 5 states, which we'll cover. I'd like to start out by explaining the difference in between hemp and cannabis, better known as medical cannabis or recreational cannabis in some states. The reason I do this is because a lot of people don't understand the differences in between what we sell in those markets and what we use for industrial purposes, which we're looking at growing outdoors. So with hemp, you're looking at a 0.3 or lower FDA regulated THC level. With anything that we sell in the medical market is generally over 10% THC or higher. So we're totally looking at 2 different markets. One is for medicinal use, and the other we can use for steels, plastics, biofuels, car parts, soaps, concrete. And the problem is that the hemp industry is so new because the 2018 Farm Bill legalized it, that the hemp industry honestly hasn't grown to its own capacity yet, whereas the cannabis industry is legal in about 38 states right now. So it's a much larger market. The problem is that there's a lack of hemp agriculture and sustainable urban farming and income within those local communities. So if we drive anywhere in Oklahoma, we can see small towns with 10, 15 acres that they don't grow anything on because they don't have the operating capital to be able to do so. And we can solve that problem. Not only through the education and enriching our communities, but through sustainable agricultural practices, boosting our local economy. Our target market, as I said earlier, are landowners with 10 or more acres of land that they don't currently use for food production. We do not want to interrupt any type of food cycle, and that's what makes us superior, is that we use land that isn't used for food production, so we do not cause an impact on any local farming. And our growth potential is we want to expand into 5 states by year 3 and a vertical integration option at year 5. So here's how our customers sign up for our program. Basically, the first step is they'll receive our marketing mostly through social media. They'll go onto our website, and it takes about 5 minutes for landowners to sign up. The next step is we'll review the application process and verify that the land is actually viable and sustainable for us to grow hemp on. We do not want to cause any negative environmental impact, so we're going to partner most likely with East Central University's biology program to make sure that the soil is what we need long term, or if we need to make any corrections along the way. We'll also collect on any additional financial information that we'll need from the landowners at that time, W-9s and any other tax information. That way at the end of the year, we can just send them a statement with the performance of their land as well. And at this time, we'll sign our crop share agreements with our distributors, processors, and then our landowners to make sure that we have a place for their product to go before it's even planted. And then we repeat the cycle each year, adding more landowners. Our market strategy is this first year, we're going to focus solely in Oklahoma on 150 acres of total production. If each customer only has 10 acres of land, that's 15 customers. By year 3, we want to expand into the surrounding states that we've identified with the blue arrows. And basically, we've identified these states as the least amount of hemp production in the areas. So these, we can capitalize the market share quite quickly. And then our gold stars are where our processors and distributors are currently located. And at year 5, we'll also add that gold star to Oklahoma, bringing in that vertical integration option right here to the Oklahoma. This is an overview of our operations over the next 3 years. So in 2020, we'll only need about 10 employees. We're going to do 150 acres of total hemp production, 20 of CBD, and 130 of industrial hemp. And we do this to hedge our investments with both types of hemp as well. And then in year 2021, we'll expand to the 250 acres of total hemp production, 1 employee per acre. So we'll need 25 employees for 250 acres of total hemp production. And then in 2022, we will do 700 acres of total production, which will require 70 employees across 5 states. The next thing that we're going to cover is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that we perceive inside of the industry, and we'll cover each one of these individually. So the strengths that we perceive is that we're more effective and efficient than our competition at production capacity at a lower cost per acre. So when you're talking about food production or corn or soy or something like that, you're looking at anywhere between $300 to $700 on the very high end for profit per acre for that landowner. And large scale economic benefits at a small scale. So by us breaking up the land into those smaller sections, we hedge our investments by making sure that not one area can get overtaken by a natural disaster or by pest or something else. And then our profit per acre to that landowner is significantly higher at $1,000 per acre guaranteed to the landowner at the beginning of the planting season. And then the environmental economic benefits associated with hemp cultivation, because it can produce as much oxygen in 90 days as 4 acres of trees can in over 20 years. The weaknesses are that we need to educate our target market. Not a lot of people understand hemp, or they don't understand the difference in between cannabis and the industrial hemp that we use in fields. And then imitation companies will also try and barge their way in, because this is something that is very profitable. We will see a lot of companies try and copy us. But since we are going into that vertical integration option, we actually welcome that and hope that more companies will jump on board with this idea. Labor force numbers will also be an issue. Since we are an outdoor agriculture company, we don't use employees full time. So getting those employees each year may be a weakness for us. That's why we partner with 2 different staffing companies to make sure that if one doesn't have the employees, we will be able to pick them up in another. And then our management team structure, which I'll further discuss in operations and management. The opportunities that we have are, this is a very high growth market, and the expansion into states that do not have large market shares in this industry yet. The gaining of public trust and support for local small scale agriculture through education and community development. I can't stress this enough, because small communities like Ada or Ardmore, which was founded on cotton, have gotten away from agriculture more into the oil side, and I think we can reverse that cycle. Expansion into other vertical opportunities into the biodegradable plastics or biofuels, and then hempcrete at year 5. And then the threats are the overproduction of hemp within the market. So as we saw in 2018, there was an overproduction inside the CBD market, over flooding the market. And the way that we're going to get around this is by partnering directly with those distributors and processors to make sure that we already have somewhere for the product to go before we plant the product. And then the environmental and pest risk associated with outdoor crop production are always a risk, but that's why we carry hail, crop, and pest insurance as well. And then the legal climate of the market, with it being so young, we can expect some changes along the way. We just need to make sure that we're following the USDA guidelines, and we'll be okay. And then our competitors using the similar programs to boost their production, as I stated earlier, is always an issue. Our organizational management structure is very simple. Again, my name is Chris McMahan. I'm the owner and founder. I have over 2.5 years experience within the commercial cannabis industry, as well as microbiology experience. And then I'm also a senior at ECU. I'm getting a degree in entrepreneurship with a certificate in banking and finance. And I also have a passion for sustainable agriculture and practices. I think that's extremely important moving into the future as we look at biology and how science is affecting our world today. So after our year 3 expansion, I will want to hire a COO to take over the operations. That way he can manage the 5 states as I look forward into our year 5 vertical integration. After our CEO has a firm grasp on how we're going to handle everything, I will then hire accounting and HR. I don't think that you can honestly run a company effectively without accounting and HR. So those will be first, and then we'll hire the labor force and sales reps last. As I do have multiple years of experience in sales, I don't really want to hire sales first, and they're not my main priority. The capital needs that we need are $1 million investment, again, for 10% of crop cut, with a 5-year, 5 states in 3 years, and a vertical integration option at year 5. How we plan to use the funds in this first year are $500,000 solely for the specific machinery that we're going to use to cultivate it. And we're going to get the best genetics that we possibly can. That way we make sure that we produce the most. So we're going to spend $155,000 in seeds and clones and $195,000 in operational costs. And then that crop share, as you see at the bottom, for the 150 acres at $1,000 an acre, we're going to pay Oklahoma citizens $150,000 the first year of production. And this is an overview of our sales over that 3 years. So in the first year, our net sales are $5.3 million with a net profit of $4.7 million. And then by year 2022, we'll be at $26.4 million with a net income of $23.2 million. Are there any questions at this time?
Great job. Thank you, Chris. If you want to stop sharing your screen, we'll jump straight into Q&A. Y'all, please shout out your questions or put it in the chat, either way. Okay, Kristen has a question. You mentioned Ada and Ardmore went from ag to oil. What have landowners said about this switch? And do you have a list of landowners ready to who are pilot this startup?
Yeah, I actually do have a list of landowners who are willing to take part in this, stretching all the way from Tatum's, Oklahoma, all the way here into Ada and Atoka. Also, the ag to oil switch actually happened in the 20s to 30s when Ardmore switched from cotton, and they recognized that the Hilton oil field was actually as large as it was. And then when the train came through Ardmore, that's really when it switched from cotton over to oil. So this wasn't a recent change. This was actually a historical change.
If I can unmute. Okay, another question is, what are some of the assumptions you use to calculate your sales projections?
Absolutely. So over the last 2 years to 3 years, there's a company out there called Hemp Benchmarks. And basically what they do is their whole job is to analyze the hemp industry over the entire US and then specialize into individual states. So they were not only able to break down how many acres are currently in Oklahoma, but every surrounding state. And then how much they were making per acre in those states. So the map that I showed you during the market strategy actually came directly from their projections of last year. So those are real-time projections of the scale of hemp agriculture in those states.
Nice. I think you mentioned this in your SWOT analysis, but with your profitability numbers in this industry being so high, we are expecting new entrants in the market. How do you plan on competing?
Absolutely. So the way I plan on competing is letting them in. With the vertical integration into hempcrete and concrete, and then things into plastics, where we're getting into the era of electric cars, where they're going to need to be lighter and faster. Jay Leno has a great example of a hemp car that's made completely out of plastic. And Henry Ford did it in 1937, where he not only built a car completely out of hemp, but fueled it completely out of hemp as well. So there's a lot of places for this product to go. And with that vertical integration, we get to choose.
Very cool. I kind of had a question. You mentioned that one of the challenges would be to, the awareness and education aspect. So how do you plan to approach that, and what have you seen so far in this market? Because even I don't know much about it, but seeing your presentation and I learned a lot.
So honestly, growing hemp is very, very easy because it actually releases nitrogen back into the soil as it grows. We don't worry about re-injecting fertilizers back into the soil. So one of the biggest things here in Oklahoma is that they spend an average of about $57 an acre in fertilizer per rotation. And with hemp, we don't necessarily need to do that. So we'd save thousands of dollars solely in production. And then the USDA, with the legalization of the 2018 Farm Bill, actually put out very specific guidelines on how to do it. There's a couple companies out there that create certified genetics, basically certifying that most of your seeds will be female. That way you don't have to deal with cross-pollination of other people's crops. You'll have higher yields. They'll be very specific to the THC level, because one of the biggest guidelines in this is making sure that your THC level doesn't go above that 0.3%. Otherwise, you have to destroy the crop legally. Because it's outside of the regulations. So using all of the certified genetics and basically just following the guidelines that the USDA has set is the best path. It's not overly complicated once you understand the industrial side of it and knowing which agricultural equipment to use and where for the product needs to go and the many uses for it. One of the guys who advised me actually owns a hemp brewing company who wants to turn it into hemp alcohol. So.
Dia, do you mind if I jump in with a quick bit of comment? So Chris, I really, really appreciate your presentation. And this is actually a really exciting company. So I'm so glad you were working on it. If I could offer just a little bit of feedback, we've heard some pitches both in our office and at pitch events from companies that are working with a technology that may be unfamiliar to an investor, something that's new and cutting edge. And I think there's a tendency in these presentations to hear, that things are really optimistic, right? Like everything is, oh man, if you've heard this, this is better. And then wait, it gets even better. And oh wait, it gets even better. And I think sometimes it's really helpful when you're telling, making a pitch, that you really frame it as a story or a narrative. And you can certainly use data and certainly use things to support that. But I think sometimes you're going to be pitching to people that have no idea what this is or haven't heard about it. And I think if you can really approach it more in a narrative format, that can kind of help alleviate, the people hearing it being unfamiliar and feeling like I'm just beaten over the head with facts, or I'm totally out of my depth. And so, so that might be a suggestion, just, when you're pitching this and thinking about this, really think about it as telling the story of your company. And I think one thing that's also nice about a story is, talking about, okay, well, if this doesn't go right, or if this doesn't go exactly perfectly, like, here's how we're going to address it. Or based on my experience, I know that, sometimes it doesn't exactly work this way. So here's how we're going to think. So really, think through the person that you're pitching to, hopefully an investor being in their shoes thinking, okay, I've never heard this before. And I keep hearing about how great this is, but I'm trying to protect my investment and think about all the risks. So you might kind of walk through a little bit when you're pitching this about, okay, well, here's what happens if this doesn't go exactly to this. Here's how we're going to address it. Or here's how we're already thinking through these things. I think it'll be a lot stronger. But again, I think what you're working on is really exciting, and I hope you continue pushing it. So
I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks for that, Jim. And I think that's a good segue into, you know, how can this entrepreneurship community help you? Is there something you're looking for, whether in it's investment or partnership, or just other options? Is there something we can help you with?
So honestly, this is a question I honestly had to think about a little bit because, you know, as we've discussed before, I really enjoy designing businesses and just creating new things. So in this particular instance, I don't think this is something that I want to run myself. So if someone wants to run with this idea, I'll help them. Because at the end of the day, the only reason I create companies is so they exist. And so they create change. And if they don't do those two things, then there's no point in me creating them. And this is something that I do think can create change, but it will be time consuming. It's going to need someone who specializes in agriculture, who has that experience with outdoors, because this isn't a job that will be easy. It's going to be hot. Oklahoma's hot. Texas is even hotter. So they're going to need to, you know, get some sweat equity going, but I'm more than willing to assist and help them. And there was a question in there, what the assumptions were that I used to calculate the sales projections. And I actually have that slide if whoever posed that question wants to see it. And I only like showing that slide off because I was pretty OCD about it. So here's how I broke down everything over basically my year one monthly income statement. So as you can see, we're going to use $27,000 a month in water. And that's very conservative. A lot of these numbers are very conservative. As you can see with my net sales though. So what I did with the net sales, and I heard, share the story. So when I first got into commercial agriculture in the cannabis industry, obviously it was very new in Oklahoma, and a lot of people just really didn't understand it. And I really didn't have commercial experience, but I had experience with agriculture. So I killed a lot of plants. And so I quickly learned, make sure to add in a giant 10% yield knockoff. So in each one of those months, I actually deducted 10% of the total yield for a 20% reduction in total yield per year, as well as the hail and crop insurance. And I did that because not every season's fantastic. Some seasons are hotter than others. Some seasons the water evaporates more than others, or maybe I get a bad batch of seeds one year from the supplier, because it does happen. Seed suppliers aren't perfect. We're all human. So I wanted to make sure that I took out 20% and then hail and crop insurance to also cover anything else as well. I did put in there trucking and marketing. I did that intentionally because most people in agriculture, especially in hemp, the reason hemp isn't so big right now is because moving hemp is expensive. Getting it across the country and getting it to the factories that can actually process it right now are expensive. There's not too many of them. And when they are, they're generally after CBD distillate to make CBD products, not hempcrete or biofuel right now. They are out there, but the reason that the vertical year 5 integration is so important is so you can remove all of those costs, remove that barrier to entry, and open up the agriculture market for more people to actually get on this path. That way you'll have more supply within the state.
Very cool, Chris. Thank you for that. And I think that's a very good, thoughtful answer to about the ask. Sometimes, you're a serial entrepreneur and you don't really have time or to start with the new business. But so if there's anyone who's interested in this business, if you know of anyone, definitely hit up Chris and we will send their email so you can connect with them. All right, so the last part of the agenda, how this is going to work is our friends at Arbuckle Craft Coffee here in Ada, Oklahoma, we will be giving away gift cards. And since we have such great participation, we'll actually give out 2. So I'm going to post the first question in the chat, and whoever can send the answer quickest is going to win that gift card. All right, so the first question.
I know this is why Dr. Bolin stayed.
Okay, so the first question is, what is the name of the music band that Star collaborated with to promote Raresanity? Oh, okay, we have a winner. Congratulations, Dr. Bolin. You are the winner of a $10 gift card. Okay, so the second one. Oops, you all can probably see the answers in my glasses. Let me hide that. Okay, so the second question is from Chris's presentation. And the question is, if you're a potential customer for Crop Cut, what is one thing you must have? What is one asset you must possess? Kenny, awesome. Oh, Kristen was specific, but I didn't mention that, so we will go with Kenny. Congratulations, Kenny. You are winner of a $10 gift card. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much again for joining. We will leave the call on if you want to connect, chat, have any feedback. Thank you again to our presenters today. It's really awesome to hear from you both. And both of you are kind of in different stages of your startup, so it's really cool to hear both the perspectives. Kristen, yes, please make a trip to Ada. We would love to welcome you. We have, as you can see, awesome startups and coffee and sky juice. So again, thank you all so much for joining. The meeting is officially adjourned. We will meet again second Wednesday of the month on next August. Wow, we're already in August. If you know of anyone who would be a cool presenter, please send them my way. We have a form they can fill out, and we would love to feature new startups locally and even throughout the region. So again, thank you all so much, and stick around if you have any things to chat about.
All right, well, I'm going to hop off if anyone doesn't have any more questions.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Good to see you all.
Stephanie, thank you for joining all the way from Austin. That's super cool.
Yeah, it was a great presentation from both speakers. So thank you.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye, Chris.